Welcome, everybody. Today I'm talking with Andrew Guttormsen, the co-founder of Circle, a platform for creators. Before that, he spent almost 5 years at Teachable, where he joined as employee number 7, 15-person growth team and marketing as their VP of growth. He has in-depth knowledge of startup growth, SaaS, and creators' needs. Andy, welcome to the Membership Maker podcast.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Sure thing. Starting a community is one thing, but growing it into an active and engaged one is challenging. You have data from thousands of communities, so you must have seen many different initiatives and strategies out there. Can you tell us about an effective strategy you've seen work repeatedly when trying to grow a community?
Yeah, so, if I look at the communities that I'm actually most impressed by and actually look at our data, most of the really successful communities are not like 50,000 person communities. Most of our really successful communities, where the members are happiest, where the person running the community is most satisfied and fulfilled, it's 150 people, or it's a paid membership of 500 people or 200 people. And so one of my favorite examples actually is Corey Haynes, who you may know Corey. Corey has a community called Swipe Files. It's for marketers. And Corey went out there and he started out, it's like one by one. He sent emails to people. He hopped on calls with people. He vetted a lot of folks. And now I think his community is something like 300 people. It's all paid, right? But there's, good word of mouth, and he has happy members because he really focused on those first 50 members, right? And then they tell other people. And Corey's great at marketing and all of that, of course, and he had a small email list. I think when he told me, because I actually interviewed him, because I was like, Corey, how did you do this? And I think he had maybe 1,500 people on his email list at the time, but he vetted them all. And so it's not as far as growth goes. Another example would be Anne-Laure Lecomte from Nest Labs, one of our best communities. She has essentially a funnel. She described it to me as well, where she puts out a lot of content, and that's kind of like the top of the funnel. She introduces people to who she is, and she attracts the type of people that like her kind of content, which is things like neuroscience and productivity and that kind of stuff, right? And then as they get a bunch of touch points with Anne-Laure, she says, oh, by the way, if you really like this, you'll probably like my paid membership. It's $100 a year or whatever it is. And people are just chomping at the bit to get into her membership, and it's grown really well. She's done amazing. But she uses content marketing and stuff like that, which is just a whole different ballgame.
Right. So for her particularly, it's the goal, the funnel is to eventually get people to convert to pay for the membership, right? That's her main business offering that she's going for.
I don't know if it's her priority from if you look at her entire ecosystem, but what Anne-Laure is really great at is writing. She's very prolific at putting out content, but she's really good at connecting with the people in her audience about the stuff that she wrote about, the stuff that brought them in. So I think for her, it's actually just natural to run a community. She loves this stuff. And then what she told me is that she focuses on in her community when she thinks about the types of ways that she can give value, right? So she could do hangouts and have thoughtful discussions in kind of a more asynchronous form. She created an online course that was very community focused. She chooses, when she thinks of all the ways she can give value, she chooses the ones that are most aligned with the types of activities she actually likes doing. She likes hopping on a call with 20 people and getting deep into a topic. And then she has they might have 20 of those happening over the course of the month. It's crazy. But a lot of times it's led by the members that they have. So it becomes more scalable. So as you grow, if you start to empower your members, it becomes a little bit more sustainable than you doing all the heavy lifting.
Right. But the key takeaway for folks, because most people are going to be just in the starting phase if they're going to launch a community, right? And let's assume they don't have some enormous email list, right? So the average person. And it sounds like the key when you start is to nurture those folks who are the first members of the community, the first people you invite, interview them, talk with them, really try to understand what they're trying to get out of the community and deliver that, right? And so let's say you get past to go back to the fire analogy, the kindling. Once you get a little flame started, what's kind of the next major thing or milestone or strategy would you say to think about? Okay, after I've spoken to all my members, I have a decently active community. People are posting a few times a week, but I still want to grow further. I want to get more engagement. Want to get more people in there. What are some kind of strategies you might recommend?
So the way I think about marketing in general, whether it's a community, whether it's a software product, whatever it is, online course, if I want to sell that, basically drive traffic, convert the traffic into some type of lead. Take the lead, convert the lead into a paying customer. So I would still think about it the same way. I would still probably, in the early days, I'd go from like one-on-one calls probably to convert like a lead into a customer. I'd probably do that for a while. I might literally do that for the first 100 or 200 customers. And by the way, I've done 1,000 one-on-one demos this year at Circle. So I'm putting my money where my mouth is. Like I really believe in this stuff. But as far as the driving traffic and driving leads, I would look to go wherever the folks that belong in my community are. I would try and find them. So if I was looking for zoologists or people that run zoos, I would literally go to like all the associations where all the zoologists hang out, and I would try and figure out who's in them. I would literally get like lists of all the people that are in them. I'd reach out to them one-on-one. I might do some stuff where I go into that association and I might say, hey, I'm going to teach this like workshop all about zoology and all this kind of stuff. And then at the end I say, hey, if anybody wants to join my community, I'd love to have you, right? And we've done a lot of that kind of stuff where we tap into other people who have the attention of the people you want to bring in to your product. So that's one way. If you're starting from scratch, find somebody who could put like 100 people on a webinar and then get 20 of them to join your community, like that kind of thing. Teach them, share, like make it valuable. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, it makes a ton of sense. All right, Andy, thanks for taking the time to talk with us. We really appreciate it. Would you like to share any resources or recommendations for folks that are trying to learn more about Circle?
Yeah, well, I mean, if you ever want to run a community and kick the tires and see just what the experience can be like, I recommend you grab a trial of Circle and play around, or just say hi on Twitter. It's, by the way, Ward, if you try to say my last name, it's A. Guttormsen on Twitter. So we won't, you're going to have to search pretty hard to find that, but if you can, it'd be great to connect there.
Awesome. All right, Andy, thanks again.
Yep, thank you.